taking that on, and what makes him so difficult to defend?
I mean, I think the biggest thing that we've had going for us is how we've defended and how we've just kind of stepped it up. I think our minds have been locked in. I think we've been sharp. We've been together, and it's been like a whatever it takes mentality. I think, like I was saying before we left on the road trip, is what are you willing to do to dig yourself out? Like how desperate are we willing to go out there and look and be and behave? And no different than the Indiana situation. Brogdon had 14 in the first quarter, and I was like, we need to win these games. We need to get stops. We need to have a presence. We got to take a challenge. And tonight was pretty much the same thing. I think Tatum had like 24 in the first half or something like that. And he's difficult to cover because, he can go right, he can go left, he can step back right, step back left. He's so tall, his release is high. He can draw contact. I mean, they run a lot of good actions for him and, put him in positions where he can be trouble. And, once he had that 24 in the first half, I just, I was like, let me guard him. I think I'm strong enough to guard bigger guys, and I can move laterally good enough, and I can get underneath them, and just make them a little bit more uncomfortable, especially at that size. And we at that closing stretch where like all that matters is who wanted the most. How can we pull these wins out, and that was that. We communicated it amongst ourselves. So I mean, that was it.
I think this is the best you guys have played all year.
I think it is. I think at the beginning of the year we kind of struggled, but we found a way. And then we weren't healthy. Then everybody came back, and we were healthy, but we weren't on the string. We weren't really clicking. And I think now we trended in that direction where we on the same page on defense and on the same page on offense. Guys are getting in better grooves. And we're doing things that we haven't been doing, which is defending, rebounding, sharing the ball, and doing the small things that it takes to win games.
Jason Quick with The Athletic.
Dame, does your guys' turnaround feel as abrupt as it does to people from the outside, you think?
I think it may be different from people on the outside, especially like you guys. Typically, after games, y'all be right there, so you can kind of like feel the mood in the locker room and hear our interactions and, have like a little conversation before somebody leave the locker room or whatever. You would have that opportunity, but you don't. So now it's like what's going on out there on the court. And then you talk to us through a laptop, and, that's that. But I think all along it was like what I told y'all, it was frustrating. We're not playing well. Things aren't going our way. But like while we were in the middle of it, we were trying so hard to work ourselves out of it. You know what I mean? So like I kept telling the team in huddles and in the locker room, like, man, look, sometimes like when you're trying so hard to get things to turn around and make things right when it's going bad, sometimes it continues to get worse. Sometimes it's like you continue to be tested before you get that breakthrough moment, And that was kind of my message, like, man, even though it seemed like, shit is just getting worse, we got to keep our heads down. We got to keep pushing forward. We got to stay together and be prepared for things to turn around. There's nothing wrong with being frustrated. There's nothing wrong with being irritated. But we got to keep working and moving forward. And, that way, when it does turn around, we're giving ourselves a chance to get to that point where we have a breakthrough. And I think because I was in the locker room and you guys weren't, and we were all there, knowing that we communicating with each other, we trying hard to do things, and it just wasn't turning around. It doesn't feel as abrupt because of that. It's like, to us, it's like we've been like working towards this, and it just hasn't been looking good once we get on the floor. So I think that's why it looks that way to you guys, but I don't think it feels that way, even though it kind of does, because we're winning games now and we're doing things that we weren't doing, but I know why it's not abrupt. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. It was a buildup.
Yeah, it was a build-up, like behind the scenes, though.
Right.
All right. Thanks, Dame. We're going to wrap there.
All right.